Hey, good morning, my friends. We have liftoff. Another edition of Night in the Morning. Welcome to the program. It is Monday, September the 18th. I'm Anwar Knight, and this is Night in the Morning. You know what? This is the last full week of summer. Yep, fall officially arrives on Friday afternoon. Hope you had a great weekend. Always a privilege and pleasure to have your company. We are streaming live here at the Regent Park Community Food Center in downtown Toronto. This is officially Hunger Awareness Week. You know, access to nutritious food is a challenge. In fact, I was astounded to learn that more than 860,000 men, women, and children access a food bank each month in the country. 1 out of 6 households that are helped by food banks are employed, and 1 out of 3 are children that require the help. So today, we're going to learn all about the amazing work that happens here at this institution here. On a busy day, they will serve over 100 breakfast meals, over 200 lunches. And this is a place that nurtures community, helping one another, a place where people can come, grow, cook, and share good food. Amazing things happen here each and every day, and we're going to learn all about it and also learn how we all can do our share and help things out here, especially when we learn that just this morning, the Daily Bread Food Bank in Toronto announced that the usage rate is at a 7-year high. And that goes back to the recession time. So it is alarming how many people do not have access to good food. So we're going to learn all about it as we stream live here at the Regent Park Community Food Center. Let's say good morning to Sarah. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great, thanks.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything exciting?
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay. I ended up making about 80 jars of tomato sauce and juice. It was quite a task. I swear I don't want to see another tomato. Unless I'm helping them cut it in the kitchen here, because it was quite the process. And just think, we were going to get even extra bushels, so I'm glad we stopped at 2. It worked out very well, though. And it was a beautiful weekend for it. My goodness, was that not astounding? In fact, the warm weather continues right through the week. In fact, this is now the 8th consecutive day without rain in Toronto, so that's the longest stretch of dry, warm weather we've had since last July, if you can believe it. Currently, we have 18 degrees, partly cloudy skies, mix of sun and cloud overall. There's a risk of an afternoon shower, but again, only a 30% chance. 27 will be the high, feeling like 32 with the humidex. The mainly cloudy tonight, down to 18 degrees. Now, as we do each and every Monday, we do the edition of Around the World in 30 seconds. Are you going to spin the globe, Sarah? There, we're spinning. So this is when we spend some extra time and say hello and thank you to all of our viewers watching. Ricardo Fernandez from Brazil. It's great to have you along. Also Terry Moore from Mississauga. Joshua Burstein from Vancouver. Sheila Pfizer from Windsor. And Leanne Janella from Cornwall, Ontario. Listen, if you're joining us maybe for the first time this morning, let us know where you're watching from. We always like to connect with you. And as we do each and every morning, we'll say good morning to you as well throughout the course of the program. Now, what day is it today, Sarah?
What day is it, Anwar?
I'm going to tell you what day it is. This was interesting. Today is World Bamboo Day. Don't see any bamboo growing here, but maybe that's something you guys should put on the list. This is a day to increase the awareness of bamboo globally. And this is an astounding renewable material. It can grow as much as a meter a day. Bamboo can. In fact, it's the fastest growing plant in the world. There are nearly 1,400 different species of bamboo. Do you know Edison's first light bulb used bamboo as the filament, which I found interesting. The first phonograph stylus was made from bamboo. And bamboo releases 30% more oxygen into the atmosphere and absorbs more carbon dioxide compared to other plants. So bamboo is the way to go. And, of course, renewability. When it grows a meter a day, that's pretty amazing stuff. So today is World Bamboo Day. All right, listen, we're streaming live here at the Regent Park Community Food Center. Let's bring in Emily Martin. Emily, come on in. Good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Anwar.
You know, this is just quite something considering we're towards the end of harvest time, but we're still seeing a lot of edibles that are ready to be picked. But the reality is, once the real cold weather comes in, this will all be shut down for the season, but the need for good food continues. So I wanted to start out by asking, who fills in that gap for you guys?
Yeah, well, a lot of the food we grow here is actually used by people in the community directly. So they have that throughout the summer. But like you're saying, when the gardens shut down, we rely on we get a lot of donations of cash, which let us actually buy food directly.
Okay.
So we don't rely on food donations as much as some places.
Okay.
The reason is we want to make sure that we're serving the healthiest possible food to people who come into our place.
Right.
So we have connections with a bunch of local farms in Ontario who provide
Sure.
produce to us. So we have the highest nutrient-dense stuff that we're getting out to people.
Great.
And we buy through different suppliers as well, so we can get stuff year-round.
You know, there's a lot of work that is involved into growing plants like this. I mean, this is really a very impressive garden, and I was talking to Enlo earlier that this helps actually support 180 plus other community gardens around the area. There's also another very large garden in Regent Park. But I think there's more than just the fact that you can pull off a cherry tomato here. To me, this is also growing hope for a community.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things with our gardens is exactly that. So like you said, we have 187 allotment gardens. That's 187 families that get a space at the beginning of the year, and they can grow whatever they want. And these are people who back home had a farm. They could have an acre here. They're not kidding around.
Right.
So Regent Park was actually home to the first community garden in Canada, which was started by a bunch of moms. And the reason is when you're living really close to the margins, you're living in poverty, that ability to grow food and give it to your family is hugely impactful. If you have to rely on a food bank to make sure that your family is fed, that doesn't give you a lot of agency over your own life. You're dependent on someone else to feed your own kids. Whereas when you have a plot of a garden, you can come out, you can say, I'm growing these foods, these are what we eat back home. I know what went into this, and I created this, and I am feeding this to you, and I'm taking care of you. So it's a huge empowerment piece.
Sure.
And it's also, I love gardens in the city just because it disrupts how people think of the city. So, we think, farms are in the country and we buy food at the grocery store here. But when you have them in the city right across from your house, you're able to come out and be like, what is this? This is a tomato plant? How does it work? And start to think, hey, we could be growing more food in our city. We could have bees on our roof. We could have all kinds of things. It makes people think differently, which I think is really transformative as well.
I think that is something that has really, started to really grow, increase in terms of changing the mindset a little bit. You talk about bees on the roofs. A lot of businesses are starting to adapt that. Even in this community here, the revitalization, it's different. I mean, you look over here, now we've got some skyscrapers here, right? And this is all new. This is all part of a changing concept, right?
Absolutely. It's, Regent Park was designed back in the 60s and the 50s as a community, and they said, we're going to put 100% social housing people in here, and we're going to make it a really beautiful community. We're going to put in trees, we're going to put in grass, and that's going to help transform people's lives. But, time went on, and people realized people were still struggling, because the reality is people are living in poverty in this community, and that was the challenge. So they're rebuilding the community, they're bringing in different people, they're bringing in new businesses, and what we're doing in here is figuring out what supports people need to make that next step in their life. So, if you are, a lot of the people who come in actually from our gardens are these moms who are growing food, they're into it, and then they come in our doors and they're like, all right, I know how to grow food, I got this covered.
Right.
I want to do some work, so get me food handlers training. We say, okay, we'll give you safe food handlers training.
Great.
Then they're like, okay, that was pretty cool. I want to get into catering. How do I do this next? So they do our food skills programs. They do community kitchens where they learn how to prepare food for larger groups of people. And now we have some of those women who started out as our gardeners and are now running a small Bengali catering business. So so it's that kind of piece of saying, food is this thing. It brings people together. It helps transform people's lives. And it's just finding that first piece. Food brings them in the door.
Right.
And then you say, okay, what next? What do you want to see next?
And, we're going to show you something next to. I'm just going to grab my iPhone here. And let's head in. Let's talk about the center now, too, as a whole. So, we mentioned off the top that you do provide meals here. And on a busy morning, it might be over 100 breakfasts, 200 lunches. So who's coming here? Who's utilizing this space?
Well, we get people from all walks of life. That's what's actually interesting about it. So it's really important to us that we don't do any screening for people who are coming in. Because some of those people are living rough. They're out on the street. They're homeless. Some of them are people who are actually working, but they live in the city of Toronto, and making minimum wage, $11 an hour, is not enough to get 3 meals on the table every day. So we have people from all over the place. We did 62,000 meals last year.
Wow.
So we do big numbers.
When you say, sorry to interrupt, you say 62,000 meals. So those are all meals that are made from scratch right on the premises here.
Exactly. So it's really important to us that everything is made from scratch, that everything's healthy. So you'll go into the kitchen shortly and see how we do that. But these are people come in, they're not asked any questions, they're not told to prove anything, they don't have to wait in line. People who come here wait in line for things all day and have to prove that they deserve, basic human dignity, housing, food, work. So they come in, they sit at the table, they're served a meal that's prepared by a team of staff and volunteers right at their seat. We always accommodate, if they're vegetarian, we always have a veggie option. All our meat is halal because Regent Park is a really Muslim community, and we want our community members to know that anytime they need a meal, they can come in here and get it.
And, this is more than just a place where people gather to consume food, though. Tell me a little bit above us here. And there's an elevator. What goes on the above floor?
So this building actually opened about 5 years ago, and it was a part of how we revitalized ourselves in the broader revitalization of Regent Park. And the CRC was an agency that had been around for 50 years working on food and housing. And when we rebuilt our building, we said, okay, let's walk the talk. We're not just going to say, oh, you should make more housing. We're going to build that housing. So we opened our own housing on this side over here. And we have 87 units of deeply affordable housing. So that's people coming out of the justice system, coming out of addictions programs, coming out of homelessness, all walks of life. They have secure housing here. They can live upstairs, and they also come down to the community hub, and they can access our programs. So the way we design our programming as well is around the idea that, if someone's coming in for a free meal, there's a good chance they need support with something else. So we have housing workers, we have advocacy staff who help them to navigate the system as well.
You may have driven by this building not knowing, how inspirational, these walls are. Let's take you to the kitchen here and see everybody at work. This is a lot of work. Look at this. Look at some of the trays. They're all being set up. And you'll notice there we have some fruits, some yogurt. And that's one thing we wanted to really touch on, is talk about the type of food that's being made here. Wow, that's a big salad bowl. Look at this. Come on in here. Good morning. Watch the cable. There you go. That's okay. We're in your way, I know, and I apologize for that. Look at this. That is a big salad bowl. Norberto, can you come over here, my friend? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Wow, look, everybody is up and early, busy away. That's got to be the biggest salad bowl I've ever seen. I have to start by asking you, this is your team. Everybody comes in the morning. So what is the routine here? Everybody comes in. Is this year-round?
It's year-round. The staff starts at 7 o'clock, and then we have some volunteers that trickle in according to their availability.
Sure.
And everybody's helps out, hands on deck, to make sure that we can serve amazing food to our community.
Now, we hear you say amazing food. We looked, first of all, we went around the garden. We saw now there's oranges and yogurt. This isn't just, a piece of toast and a bag of chips. This is nutritious food. And why is that important?
Well, we believe that everybody should have access to good, nutritious, wholesome, sustainable food, and it doesn't matter what your status is or your social class, your working situation. You deserve a good plate of food that will keep you healthy for the time to come. So we strive to do that, to be able to offer that service to our community.
So when we're cooking, this is basically all prepping for breakfast, I would imagine. Some of it is for lunch as well?
For breakfast, and then some we're already moving on to lunch, right?
So this is more than just a plate of good food, though, really. I mean, when somebody comes in here and accesses a tray and has their meal, this is more than just a meal, though.
Yeah, I think so. We believe that the service we do should be offered with dignity, and everybody walks in. We have a beautiful space. I don't know if you were able to see it.
A little bit, yeah.
It's nice and sunny and warm, especially in the colder months in the winter. It's nice to sit in the sun if you had a rough night outside. And we make sure that we have a lot of people available, staff and volunteers, to make sure that everybody feels welcome as well. We feel that it's a very breaking with isolation. It's as important as having a nutritious plate of food.
Let me ask you. Why are you here? Why are you doing this right now?
Well, I've been chefing for 15 years, and I worked 10 years in the private sector, and I was lucky to work with some of the best chefs in Toronto, and I did my share there, and I felt that there was a need for my set of skills for other people, right? I cooked for people who could afford food for 10 years, and now I'm on my 5th year of cooking for people who maybe can't, right? So I think that I bring something to this sector that it's needed, and like managing a kitchen safely, being able to offer safe food and nutritious and wholesome. I think it's very important for the people who comes and eats here every day.
So when you go home at night, I would imagine you feel pretty good.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, it's actually not only because I love cooking, but it's very rewarding. Especially we have an open kitchen here, so we are in contact with our community all the time, and anybody who pokes in and says thank you one day, it makes my day. So that's all it takes, you know. It makes us very happy to work. And all these folks do, right?
So some of these would be volunteers who come, some of the people that come in here in the morning?
Yeah, I have a big crew of very reliable, amazingly committed volunteers who come in every day. There's different people that comes every day, but everybody knows their tasks and what to do, and they're very willingly helping us out do the work we do.
Like how many potatoes will you be skinning, would you say?
My goal today, according to Roberto, is 3 of these bins.
3 of those bins?
Yes.
So a lot of potatoes?
A lot of potatoes.
But you don't mind?
I don't mind, no.
You don't mind?
No, yeah.
Okay, well this is good. So we're doing potatoes here. We've got the salad over here. And are we grilling?
Scrambled eggs for
Scrambled eggs
breakfast
over
there,
here.
with some bagels and cream cheese.
Now, how do you determine what would be, I don't want to use the word menu, but in terms of the selection of food that would be served?
Well, we try to make sure that the plate that we're serving is a balanced diet. There's enough grains and fruits and veggies and protein, and we try to keep it fun. We have a lot of people who eat here several times a week, so we try not to serve the same thing to keep people exposed to different flavors, and we work on educational stuff too. Like we want to make sure that we're consuming Ontario products, that is in season, right? Lots of peaches being consumed lately. We have the corn, and this is an amazing month to be serving Ontario food, so we try to have that product as well.
Now, what about, is there ever a time where you just don't have the food available? Like, how do you fill that gap in the kitchen in particular?
Well, as an organization, we guarantee that we have a baseline budget for food cost, and that makes sure that we can ensure that everything that's going on the plate, even though maybe it was a rough month, are you saying, or whatnot, we can still guarantee the wholesomeness, the nutritional value of the dish that we're serving.
So, put up your hand up if you're a volunteer here. Okay, so let me ask you, why are you volunteering here? You could be, first of all, you could be sleeping. Which I wouldn't mind doing right now, but you're here early in the morning. Why?
Because it makes a difference, and I'm really happy to be able to help out, and I know that there's a need in the community.
Right.
And I'm really happy to be with those wonderful people that are sharing the same interests as I do.
Yes.
And I think it's a great thing to do.
It is a
Why
great
not?
thing.
Why not?
Why not? So maybe we can encourage some of our viewers who are watching. You know, everybody has a role to play. And maybe you don't have time to volunteer per se, but maybe you can donate money, maybe you can donate food, maybe you can be part of a different program in your own community, whether it's helping people prepare a resume, whatever it is. I think it's our duty, if we are blessed, to be able to do something to help those in need. And this is very empowering to see everybody at work, let alone, it's very tempting. You know, I wouldn't mind a little breakfast right now, but we're going to hold off on that. Let's head outside just for a moment. I want to introduce you to Gullinar. Gullinar, good morning. Come on in here. Well, actually, let's go into the serving area where the light is if we can. We want to see your beautiful face. This is sort of the area then where people will come and the meals will be provided. Now, you have a fascinating story, Gullinar, because about 2 years ago you were homeless.
Actually, I just got my apartment last November.
Yes.
So before that, I was homeless.
And then is that how you were first introduced to here, to this community center?
Actually, I was referred here in February last year because there was a program called Housing 101.
Okay.
So I attended that program.
What does that mean, Housing 101?
I
What did
wasn't
you learn?
sure when I
When you joined in?
attended,
Yes,
no.
yes.
But they were giving us tips on how to apply online for RGI housing.
Right.
You know, they hooked me up with one of the workers, housing support workers here.
Sure.
And my housing support worker was Michelle, and she is wonderful.
Yes, yes.
So
that was one of the reasons that got you in here in terms of, you know, trying to get a better life. But what's the one thing that the average person walking by here doesn't understand what goes on?
well, they understand that there are meals being served,
Yes.
but a lot of them don't realize how many programs there are for people. There are a lot of good programs here, like mindfulness, mindful meditation, creative arts, knitting. And the nice thing is, a lot of these programs cater for childcare.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, so, you know, everyone in the community is welcome.
Yeah. And you're in better days now. You're on the other side.
Yes, I am.
And is that the reason why you're back to help?
No, I'm still associated with Star,
Okay.
which rents space from here.
Sure.
And I come to the programs here.
Yeah.
They provide workshops.
Yeah.
So I attend those workshops.
But in terms of you're here right now, you're here, you want to give back.
Yes, I do.
You want to give back? Because
Yes.
you know somebody who may be coming in today and having a meal, they could be going through the same journey you were going through.
Or worse.
Or worse.
Or worse. Because there's so many people who are drug addicts.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I never had that
Right.
problem with drugs or alcohol
Sure.
or anything.
Yeah.
But they end up being totally homeless. At least I was couch hopping
Okay.
and ended up in a shelter.
Right.
But these people have nowhere to go.
Right.
So this is their main place to come and have a good meal.
And get hope,
Yes,
which is very important.
extremely. Extremely. If you don't have hope, you have nothing.
You have nothing. Well, thank you for taking the time.
You're very
Isn't this something? It's amazing stuff. Let's say good morning to some of our viewers this morning. Nevik is saying good morning to us. Carmen joining us from Brampton. Diane saying good morning. Thank you so much, Glenn. We'll let you get back to your routine. Diane is joining us from Niagara Falls. Judy saying good morning. Have a stellar day, everybody. Hammer Films. Hey, we haven't heard from you in a long time from Antigua. By the way, how is it, by the way, there? It's been very bad with the hurricane situation, another storm system that will be affecting some of the islands. Let us know, the folks at Hammer Films, how are the conditions where you're at? Kenny is saying welcome back. Thanks, Kenny. I always appreciate your support. Angela is joining us from Oshawa. And the Toronto Botanical Garden is saying, pretty impressive garden you have there. So that's high esteem coming from them. Manuel is saying wonderful hearts. And Diane also says thanks to all the wonderful people who are doing their part. And you can do your part as well. Emily, if I could just borrow you back here, Angelo too, just for a second. I think we tend to generalize, who has access to a center like this. Mm-hmm. We tend to think that, maybe they push themselves in a corner. But when we learn some of the stats that are their children that are utilizing a food bank or maybe getting childcare in a building like this, it's wrong perception, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it has. I mean, the biggest thing that we want to make people understand is people don't come in here because of any personal failing of their own. People don't come in here because they're not working hard enough or they're not trying hard enough. In just the same way that so many challenges we see in our society right now, it's a systemic thing. And people are consistently being underpaid. People are consistently having, housing affordability is wild right now. So there's lots of barriers that people have in order to make ends meet. In the city of Toronto, to take care of a two-child family, both parents need to be making at least $18.25 an hour. And that's not what minimum wage is, and housing prices are going up. So we have people who are working. We have people who are families in the neighborhood. We have everybody coming in here. And our goal is to create a space that's welcoming and that's flexible so that you can have someone who's living on the streets coming in and getting the food they want, getting the supports, and then you can have somebody who's a young person who wants to get into working in the food industry and help them out as well.
Well, full service, full gamut, a wide spectrum, and that's what I find so inspiring. Edlo, I'm going to give the final note to you because you're approaching a 50th anniversary, 50 year here, especially for this part of the building, right?
So Regent Park Community Food Center is part of the larger organization that has served in Regent Park for over 54 years. This happens to be the 5-year anniversary of this space. So
This space right here.
Space opened in 2012 as sort of the headquarters of all of our services. So in addition to food security, we serve the need for affordable housing, housing supports, community enterprise supports, and a drop-in space to connect the community, to give some respite from seasonal, harsh weather, things like that. And what we want to do is leverage the milestone year as a chance to re-engage some of our initial supporters as well as to bring in new supporters. So people are interested. There's always a need for philanthropic support, for volunteerism, and we invite everyone to visit our Facebook page as well as our website, tcrc.ca.
Okay. Yep. And so people can donate right online if they want to?
Absolutely. They can donate right online. They can also...
Don't hold back. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm hoping we can inspire somebody watching, wherever they are in their own community and around the world, to give back, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's product, whatever it is. And if it's here in the GTA, if they can donate some money, they can do that online.
And they can do it right online, tcrc.ca. They can both donate and they can actually be in touch with us to come out and volunteer. One of the cool things about this place is that there's something for everyone to contribute, and that's what we're here for. And come on out.
Yeah, come on out. Wow. This has just been a very powerful morning. I'm so impressed. I really am. I'm so impressed. I mean, everybody's so busy, and we talk about this is more than just a place to get a meal or a place to sleep. This is about hope. This is about that tomorrow's going to be a better day, and you guys should be very proud that you're able to provide that each and every day. Again, we're streaming live here at the Regent Park Community Food Center. We want to thank everybody for joining us this morning on Night in the Morning, and we'll post, of course, all the links on our Facebook page as well as on Twitter. And we'll have your full 7-day forecast coming up live on CTV News at noon. Just as a recap, though, 18 warm degrees for a September day. Partly cloudy skies, a mix of sun and cloud overall. There's a risk of a shower, maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon, but just a 30%. And it will be a high of 27 with mainly cloudy skies and 18 for the overnight. That's it for now. We'll see you live on CTV News at noon. Remember, if you don't click in, you miss out. Have yourself a blessed day, everybody. Thanks for watching.